All right, so if you're a web dev, you've probably heard the news. Next.js 16 is here. And wow, it's a big one. This isn't just some minor update. We're talking about some major changes. So let's dive in and break down what's new, and, more importantly, why you should care. So if you boil it all down, this whole update really focuses on three main things. First, it's about making everything ridiculously fast. Second, they've totally reimagined how caching works to give you, the developer, way more control. And finally, there's a whole bunch of quality of life improvements that are going to make your day-to-day coding just way, way smoother. Okay, let's kick things off with the big one, performance. Next.js 16 is all about speed, right from the very start with your build process. Because, let's be honest, we've all stared at a terminal for way too long waiting for our code to compile. I mean, we've all been there, right? You make a tiny change, hit save, and then you wait. And wait. You're just staring at your screen, waiting for that compiled successfully message. It's a drag. Well, Next.js 16 is aiming to make that feeling a thing of the past. So what's the secret sauce here? Well, it's Turbopack. It's now the default stable bundler. And I mean, just look at this chart. The difference is, it's not even close. We're not talking about a little 10% improvement here. We are talking about production builds that are 2 to 5 times faster. That's a huge win, both when you're developing locally and when you're pushing code to production. And it's not just about build times either. The speed improvements go way deeper, right into the routing and prefetching system. And the best part? You don't really have to do anything to get this. It's just built in now. For instance, layout duplication means if you have a header and footer on multiple pages, your users only download it once. And prefetching is way smarter. It only grabs the new bits of a page it needs, making the whole user experience feel snappy and responsive. Okay, moving on to the next major pillar of this update, caching. And honestly, this might be the biggest philosophical shift we've seen in Next.js for a while. The whole idea is moving away from a framework that guesses what you want to cache to one that puts you firmly in the driver's seat. Yeah, this slide really sums it up perfectly. Before, with the app router, the default was to cache pretty much everything, and you had to specifically mark things as dynamic. Now, it's the complete opposite. Everything is dynamic by default, and you have to explicitly opt in to caching. It just makes so much more sense, right? No more guessing games about what's cached and what's not. And the way they've done this is through something new called cache components. It's as simple as adding a little use cache directive at the top of a file. This gives you incredibly specific control over what gets cached. This is really the final piece of the puzzle for partial pre-rendering, or PPR. It lets you have a super fast static page shell with dynamic, personalized bits streamed in. You get the speed of static with the flexibility of dynamic. It's the best of both worlds. So to actually use this new caching system, they've given us 3 really powerful APIs. Think of it like this. RevalidateTag is perfect for stuff that's okay being a little bit out of date, like a list of blog posts. Then there's updateTag. You use that when a user makes a change and needs to see it right now, like posting a comment. And finally, refresh is your scalpel. It's for updating just the tiny dynamic parts of a page, like a shopping cart icon, without re-rendering everything else. Look, faster apps and smarter caching are awesome for our users, for sure. But what about us? What's in it for the developers in our day-to-day grind? Well, Next.js 16 has got us covered there too, with some really nice developer experience upgrades. This is super cool. The Next.js DevTools now have something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. Think of it like this. Your DevTools now have a direct line to an AI that actually understands your Next.js app. It knows about your routes, your cache settings, all of it. This means you can get incredibly smart, context-aware help to fix bugs faster than ever. Now, this next one might seem like a small thing, but it's actually a really smart change for clarity. The file middleware.ts is now called proxy.ts. It's not just a simple rename for the sake of it. It makes it crystal clear that this code is running at the very edge as a proxy before a request even hits the rest of your app. It just clears up any confusion. And here's a quality of life upgrade that I think every single one of us is going to love. The logging is just better. The build output now gives you this beautiful, clear breakdown of every step and exactly how long it took. If your build is slow, you'll know precisely where the bottleneck is. No more guesswork. Okay, so you're probably thinking, this all sounds great, I'm in, but what's it actually going to take to upgrade your project? Let's talk about the breaking changes and the game plan. All right, let's rip the Band-Aid off and look at the breaking changes. First things first, you've got to be on at least Node.js version 20.9. Second, if you were using AMP, well, all support for that is gone now. We already talked about renaming middleware.ts to proxy.ts. The other big ones are a few small API changes. You'll need to start using await for params, and revalidateTag needs a new argument. Those are really the main things to look out for.
But here's the good news, you're not on your own here. The Next.js team has laid out a super clear path to get you upgraded. Your first step should always be to run their code mod tool. It's going to automate a ton of these changes for you. After that, just update your packages. And if you run into any tricky situations, the official upgrade guide has all the details you'll need.
And that's pretty much the grand tour of Next.js 16. It's a huge step forward in speed, in giving developers more control, and just making the whole experience better. It really just leaves one big question, right? With all this new power and flexibility at your fingertips, what are you going to build next?